My mother-in-law moved in with us a month ago. I began to notice my stuff in the bedroom being touched. Furniture rearranged, stuff moved, etc. I felt like I was going crazy because my husband is the only one who has access to the bedroom, and he doesn't usually touch nor come near my things. So I figured it must be his mom walking in and snooping on my personal things. I told my husband and he said his mom would never. I had a huge hunch but couldn't install a cam in the bedroom to catch her in the act. So I got myself one of those fake positive pregnancy tests and threw it in the bedroom's trash can. Note, the trash can was placed in the corner near the closet. The next day, after I got to work, I received tons of calls and texts from my in-laws congratulating me on my pregnancy. My husband came over to my workplace and was all worked up about it, asking since when I was pregnant and why I didn't tell him. I asked how he found out and he said his mom found the positive test in the trash can in the bedroom. I asked if his answer just confirmed that she's been snooping in the bedroom all along. He had a realization moment but demanded we stick to the bigger issue, and I said there was no bigger issue because the positive test was fake and this whole thing was done to expose my mother-in-law's snooping. He was not convinced. He had me take an actual test right before him and he was livid, asking how I could lie about such a thing and break his mom's heart since I know that she longs for kids. I got a lot of crap because of this from him. His mom and family are now calling me a liar and a manipulator. Am I the idiot? Important info. Nothing gets taken or goes missing from the bedroom. Not the idiot. You didn't lie. You set a trap. You caught a rat. She's violating someone's privacy and her feelings are hurt. She's trying to take everyone's attention away from the fact that she found out the wrong way, OP. Don't let her. But if my husband ever demanded I take a pregnancy test in front of him, I would tell him only if he puts his head in the toilet while I do it. OP, throw out that whole family. He forced you to take a pregnancy test in front of him. He was an insensitive, controlling monster. This is your warning. Do not make a family with him. I've seen so many times that birth is not a spectator sport, and I thought humanity was done, but now we have pregnancy tests aren't a spectator sport, LOL. Yep, it sounds like you have a husband problem as well, since he was focused more on you breaking his mom's heart, instead of her, 1, snooping in your marital bedroom, and 2, her blabbing her mouth to everyone instead of immediately going to you and your husband. Of course, snooping is terrible and deeply disrespectful, but it's made even worse by how she went behind your back to spread the news without any confirmation or follow-up. And she's like this about a pregnancy. I imagine she just has zero respect for anyone's privacy or boundaries at all. Yikes, I wouldn't want to raise a family around someone like that. I also have a weird fear that OP should check her birth control. Who knows what mother-in-law is doing in there? OP says nothing is missing, but I've heard that microwaving birth control pills renders them useless. She'd never even know something had happened to them. I can't believe so few people yet are mentioning this. If mother-in-law is longing for kids and habitually snooping, tampering with birth control is not beyond the realm of possibility. There's nothing worse than feeling like you can't relax in your own house or like your things aren't safe in your own house. Ordering a lock for the door and kicking mother-in-law out seems easier than living in fear. Suppose you were preg. How dare she announce it? So many red flags. One of you needs to go and it shouldn't have to be you. The lock is an issue because my husband wants access to the room at random times, and we only have one key. I don't have time to lock or unlock the door all day long. No sufficient solution if you ask me. My husband wants this, my husband wants that. For damn's sake, what do you want? His mom is snooping through your sake and he's worried about how much you hurt his mommy's feelings. Your mama's boy husband dismissed your concerns. It sounds like one of you girls should move out. I wonder which one your husband would prefer. Girl, you have a severe husband problem. Rethink the marriage. I recently got an invitation to a Christmas celebration from my parents. The invitation included Luke and me, but Luke thought this was somewhat rude and disrespectful because he believes he should get his invitation and not have his name mentioned as an extension to mine. We talked and he said he wouldn't go unless they sent him a proper invitation. I called Mom and asked if she could do it. She thought it was ridiculous and said that she and Dad did the same with my sister and her husband. I told her it was fine, but Luke can be sensitive like that, so a simple invitation in the form of a text directly to him would fix it. She got defensive and said that Luke was being ridiculous. Dad claimed that Luke was trying to pull some power move to humiliate them, but I thought this was a small issue. They still thought it was ridiculous, so I told them I wouldn't attend if they didn't send him a separate invitation because he won't attend if he didn't get it. This blew up and my sister started arguing, saying Luke needed to get over himself and shamed me for trying to force our parents to send him an invitation by saying I won't come if they didn't. We haven't talked since then and we're waiting. Edit. The invitation I received was in a text. So Luke is saying that a simple text to him will finish the conflict, but my parents still think it's ridiculous and that they won't invite him since they already have. You are the idiot. Holy crap. That's not how invitations work. Couples always get invited together. He wouldn't be invited if he wasn't your husband. Why didn't you shut that crap down immediately? Your husband is a bigger idiot, but you enable him. Has your husband always been trying to isolate you from your family? In the 23 years we've been married, my wife and I have never received 2 separate invitations to anything. I have never once thought that if I really wanted, I should be sent my own "please come." Your husband sounds like he's either too fragile or too arrogant, but your sister's right. He needs to get over himself. It's funny how OP can't tell who's right or who's wrong, but the whole family can. I'm guessing that Luke has been pulling crap like this for years and OP is numb to it. Luke sounds like he's unhinged. Why would he pick on something so innocent and cheerful as a Christmas invitation to get all weird about? Why would he get one of his own? Because you're not a couple? Because he's too important to be subsumed in a relationship? He sounds like he's creating drama and your family is probably worried about you. Luke is the idiot and you are the idiot for condoning it. When you're married, you don't get separate invitations. Your mom called and said, "I hope you guys can come for Christmas," or "We're looking forward to seeing you at Christmas." That is the royal you, not just you, OP. Question: if a friend issued the same invitation as your mom, would Luke kick up a fuss or would he go? This isn't about the invitation. Luke doesn't want to go. Your choice is to stay with him or go without him, but your parents don't have to issue Lukey Wubby his own special private invitation. And think hard. Is this really the only time he makes a fuss, or do you tiptoe around a lot of things? Be honest. This all started when my son Ben graduated high school 7 years ago. There was a formal dance and I was very excited about the mother-son dance. But Ben would say he wasn't going to dance every time I brought it up, so I didn't take him seriously. I thought he was just being shy. When we got to the formal, everything was beautiful, but when it came time for the formal dances, he was nowhere to be seen. I approached my older daughter Alice and my husband, who I could see were talking and laughing. I asked if they'd seen Ben and they laughed and said he was hiding so he didn't have to dance. I was absolutely heartbroken. My son was literally hiding from me. I stood in the corner during the mother-son dance, watching all his friends dance with their moms. I couldn't take it, so I told my husband and daughter I was walking home. When they got home, Ben walked right past me and went to his room to get ready for the after party. My daughter hugged me and went to get ready because she was driving Ben to the party. After our children left, my husband and I argued about what had happened. He said he was appalled at my behaviour and that I was acting like a child. I said that the least Ben could have done was dance with his mother. He said today was supposed to be about him and his accomplishment, not me. But I think it should have also been about celebrating the people who helped him to get where he is now. Things got quite heated, and before going inside, my husband said he wouldn't force his son to do something he didn't want to on his day. I was taken aback by this, so I just stayed on the porch trying not to cry. I thought my husband would support me. Later, my daughter returned home and saw me crying. She gave me a hug and gave me a chocolate bar to try to cheer me up. If no one else, my daughter would be on my side. She danced with me at her graduation. She danced with her father. She understood how important this day was for me. I asked if she was on my side. She said, "I know you're upset, but I don't know what you expected from him." It took a few days before we really spoke to each other again, and after a few weeks everything went back to normal. Coming back to the present, my daughter recently got engaged. We were talking about it on a family FaceTime, and the topic of when Ben will get married came up. He said he was never going to get married because he didn't want to deal with another round of dance drama. When I asked him to clarify, he said that he was obviously referring to his graduation. I was appalled at this attack. He won't get married because of me? I won't lie, I'm upset that he still doesn't want to dance with me, even at his own wedding. Now my husband is mad at me and my son refuses to answer my calls or texts. Am I the idiot for making a scene and starting an argument because my son never wants to dance with me? Edit. My son is now 25. My daughter is 29. OMG, how little self-awareness can one person have? Did you really find it appropriate to make your son's graduation all about you? When your child said, "I don't want to dance," that should have been the end of the story. It sounds like you walk all over his boundaries often, and that was one of the first times he spoke up to you about it. You are the idiot, and best of luck when he's choosing your nursing home. My goodness, I feel bad for the daughter being her mom's emotional support animal. OP's narcissism is glaring. Every single thing comes back to her. Main character syndrome to the max. OP, you're going to be a very interesting mother-in-law. I can imagine your reaction when your son dances with his wife. Imagine when OP interrupts the honeymoon. You forced your son to hide somewhere because he knew you would show no respect whatsoever for his boundaries. Then, 7 years later, he cracks a joke about it and you go into another huff? Of course you're the idiot. Why do you even need to ask? Jesus, it's been 7 years and you're still acting like this about it? I mean this in the nicest possible way. Please seek help. A very good therapist can help you navigate these feelings and better deal with minor disappointments and people setting boundaries you might not like. That may help you repair the relationship with your son, or at least not make it any worse. My sister Bea doesn't like men and never has. I don't know why. She loves the men in our family and can obviously work with men casually and professionally, but when it comes to personal relationships, absolutely not. Her male friends lasted only a short time. The only personal relationship I've ever seen her have with a man that wasn't part of our family was with her late husband. They married right out of college until he passed almost 3 years ago. She's never expressed interest in dating men since. My husband's brother, Rick, has always struggled with dating. He always liked Bea and didn't hide it. About a year after Bea's husband passed, he begged my husband and me for approval to try and go out with her. I didn't want him to because she's never expressed interest in dating anyone since, and it would make things awkward either way, but my husband convinced me to give it a try because they were both lonely, and it's just a question. So I did. I told Bea, who obviously wasn't interested but said she would be fine turning him down gently if she didn't have to be alone. So we planned to have dinner for just the 4 of us at a local Chinese buffet. As we thought, Rick spent all night trying to flirt with Bea. I'm not sure if it was the food or what, but she was starting to feel not right, and it seemed like it would be okay with some time and air. We finished dinner and walked over to a park. When he finally asked her out, she opened her mouth to respond and threw up. Not a little bit either, like a full stomach clearing out. He tried to laugh it off, but she just said, "I'd rather not," before apologizing profusely and leaving as quickly as possible. The night ended there. Rick is now mad at us for letting him be humiliated like that, and thinks my sister should give him a chance at least. My husband is mad at me for not convincing my sister to do one date, and his mother thinks I expressly set up Rick to humiliate him and destroy the confidence he'd struggled so long to build up. My sister says she didn't puke on purpose but isn't willing to go out with him because she doesn't want to do a pity date. I didn't do anything wrong. I told him it wouldn't work out. I got my sister to come out and try and it all went wrong. Obviously, I didn't know it would be like that, but things happen. Not the idiot. You and your sister already went beyond what you were comfortable with out of politeness. Whether the throwing up was due to nerves or bad food or something else, it seems truly symbolic of her level of interest. Now your husband and his brother are becoming obnoxiously entitled and manipulative. If anything, it's your sister who was put out and embarrassed by this whole thing, as it sounds like she only came to turn him down gently. They need to back off right now. They both need swift, hard, figurative kicks up the backside. You can't pressure, guilt trip, and manipulate someone into liking you. They need to get that through their heads and then let it go. The OP is the idiot for setting up this weird let him down gently double non-date. I'm completely baffled as to why he had to be told no in person by the OP's sister and why the decision was made to do it in a romantic pseudo-date setting of a meal followed by a walk in the park. Your sister declined other men several times, your brother-in-law included, and yet 3 people forced her to date. Leave that poor woman alone. The incident is a side issue here, honestly. By ignoring your sister's no, your husband and his brother are crossing the line into harassing her. They also double suck for running to mommy about this, and she sucks for enabling their harassment because, God forbid anyone says no to her precious little angel. You will be an idiot if you continue to allow the harassment of your sister. I would be seriously thinking about what this situation says about your husband's character. I feel like crap right now, but here we go. I work for a pretentious company where everyone tries to kiss the boss's butt. We have a huge holiday party every year. It's always a fancy venue, cocktail attire and great food. When I first started working there, I was excited to take my wife to it, but it's now something I dread. My wife gets herself so stressed over it that she's miserable for weeks leading up to it. She agonizes over what to wear, always goes over budget, and spends the whole day on hair and makeup. Then, when we get there, she honestly embarrasses me, and again I feel like crap. Every year she tries so hard to befriend my boss's wife, who clearly wants nothing to do with her, and literally looks at her husband like, "Save me." I always feel my boss is laughing at me. Then she spends the next couple of days making fun of my boss's wife and calling her a witch, which I'm terrified will get back to them because you know how gossip works. It's all very hard for me to watch. I've tried to talk to her about her behaviour, but she gets defensive and nothing changes. Finally, this year I just couldn't take it. I told her there wouldn't be a party, just a lunch during the workday for employees only. I planned to go alone and make an excuse for her. I hate lying, but I felt I'd given her multiple chances to change her behaviour, so what would I do? At this point, she's hurting my career and hurting herself mentally. Unfortunately, she found out and is obviously furious. She feels I took away a huge night from her and is very hurt that I am embarrassed by her behaviour. Not the idiot, you're being responsible. Tell her you're sorry for lying. Take her to a dolled-up expensive outing and do it annually, the week after the office party. Of course she's hurt and you shouldn't have lied, but some people need saving from themselves. And of course you need to protect your career for both you and your wife. Good luck, OP. Sorry you won't be having intimacy for the next 2 months. I want to know why your work party is something she considers a huge night for her. She's not only potentially detrimental to your career, not hers, but she's incredibly self-centered about it. Almost an everyone's the idiot here situation because you probably shouldn't have lied. A lack of communication and the ability to do so kind of points to why you're in a marriage with someone you feel you cannot be honest with. I'm not a therapist, and at the very least here she sounds a bit exhausting. Your company sounds exhausting too, so maybe you just have a type.